There's an idea that's captivated the minds of self-help enthusiasts, spiritual seekers, and even business leaders. It's a concept that suggests reality is shaped not by actions alone, but by assumption. This is the law of assumption. It's a principle most commonly associated with the 20th century mystic and lecturer Neville Goddard. Goddard proposed that when we assume things to be true, let that be consciously or unconsciously, it directly influences our external reality. In essence, if you believe something with unwavering conviction, your world will eventually align with that belief. But is there any substance to the idea? Or is this just another mystical philosophy wrapped in wishful thinking? The law of assumption is rooted in the belief that imagination is the creative force behind reality. Goddard argued that our subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It merely accepts whatever we deeply assume to be true. In practical terms, if you assume that you are wealthy, successful, or loved, the subconscious mind will work, often imperceptibly, to bring that assumption into existence. This principle differs from the more popular law of attraction, which focuses on energetic frequencies and manifestation. The law of assumption bypasses external forces and simply suggests that reality bends to our internal certainty. Skeptics may dismiss the law of assumption as pseudoscience. There's a psychological and neurological factor that gives it some credibility. First, there's cognitive biases. The confirmation bias that ensures that once we believe something, we unconsciously seek out evidence to support it. If you assume you are successful, your brain filters information in a way that highlights successes and downplays failures. They're self-fulfilling prophecies. Psychologists have long documented the power of expectations and how they come into play in shaping outcomes. For example, in the 1968 Pygmalion Effect Study, teachers were told certain students had higher intelligence. Those students, regardless of actual IQ, performed better, simply because they were treated with higher expectations. Neuroscience and mental rehearsal. It's a key. Studies on visualization show that when we vividly imagine an event, that our brain's activity mirrors that of actually experiencing it. This means that assuming success in your mind can prime the brain and body to act as though success is already achieved, increasing the likelihood of real-world results. Neville Goddard. He taught that the most effective way to use the law of assumption is through mental rehearsal, not just visualizing, but feeling the reality of your assumption as though it's already true. The state akin to sleep method. It's quite effective. Before you drift off to sleep, vividly imagine yourself living the reality that you desire. Experience it with all your senses. And then lean into affirmations and self-concept reinforcement. You could repeat statements like, I am successful, or I am in perfect health. While you feel their truth, it could deepen the assumption. And then there's also living as if, acting in accordance with your assumption, and how that reshapes your habits, your decisions, your confidence, and it reinforces the belief you're living as if it's already true. While many people swear by these principles, critics argue that it oversimplifies complex realities. Economic circumstances, systematic barriers, external events, they still play significant roles in life's outcomes. However, additionally, assuming something does not guarantee its manifestation. Ultimately, effort, adaptability, external conditions, they do all factor in. However, even skeptics do acknowledge that a mindset rooted in positive assumptions can lead to increased motivation and resilience. So, at its core, the law of assumption suggests that reality is less about what is and more about what we believe to be true. Whether mystical or psychological, history and science both suggest that our expectations do, in fact, shape our world in ways we often underestimate. These are Interesting Things with JC.